coming into this game 5 because of that reason. Teams have found an effective strategy by leveraging the strength of Senna on blue side. So now, what does T1 do? The Renata added to the ban. What about the Talia? Will it continue to be banned away? What about the Ashe from BLG?
I think the Talia has to be banned. The Renata ban is kind of puzzling, I guess, but I mean, we know that On is absolutely amazing on that champion, but of course the bans will not change on the side of BLG. And now T1, do they want to risk it? No, okay. Leaving the Talia available.
It has to be. It has to be Senna, I think. That has to be the Senna. I think BLG have to prioritize it, and they just concede the... but it's a tempting one because you know that Knight is really good at Talia, so maybe you just say... BLG are being tested here.
There's a lot of thinking going on here, but that clock is going to tick down, and like you say, it has to be the Senna. That will be the lock-in here. And now Talia will go over to T1 if they would like it. Do they do something crazy? Is it like pick away the Ornn and just give it to Zeus?
You can't really blind the Ornn,
Has to be Nautilus.
True.
Has to be Nautilus. I think the Ornn still is incredible, but the Nautilus to me, even more obnoxious in that 2v2. Nautilus also goes with a lot of other AD carries. T1, they clearly knew this was gonna come through here. Also might force BLG to go for a mid lane pick here on third. Otherwise...
They might even just grab the Cassante for themselves, you know?
Oh, could be as well.
The problem is that everything is up. You know, Twisted Fate, Camille, and nothing has been banned, so T1 could just immediately respond.
That's
getting baited by hovers.
Yeah.
But BLG must know as well that this is what was going to happen if they left.
It is Knight though.
Talia open. What a way would be to end it in game 5.
Knight, is he going to do it?
Been hovering that one for a long time. Now the Nico going to be the consideration. I do think that the Twisted Fate has been very strong as well. Something that would have been worth a look, but no, the Nico will be locked in here for Knight. Something that he has found some success on at this tournament thus far, even if T1 were able to come over the top of it in its last matchup.
It's got to be Varus.
Yeah, the Varus has to happen. And Gumayusi, if there's ever a champion that he's going to be clutch on, it's going to be this one. Although, to be honest, Gumayusi, we've got no bad words to say about this man, especially not after the year that he's had so far. It's been so incredibly consistent. Now back on the Varus.
In the meta of this series, what BLG have feels amazing. You have 9 on a champion that can make a large impact in mid-game team fights. You have the Senna also taking it away from Guma and Carry, I think is quite big. And on his Ornn in particular in that game, number 3 was such a big part of what made those BLG team fights snowball so insanely quick. Five gonna get taken away from Shun here as well.
The thing is, TF, Camille, both open. The Nidalee, I mean, all right, we've been seeing this a lot on the blue side in particular. Does lead us towards something like a Sejuani, but I feel like PLG need a little more damage. I think if they do Sejuani carry top, it would be fine. But it depends where this Cassante falls. Maybe PLG is expecting a Cassante to come through from T1.
Kindred, I love that.
We just talked about how PLG needed more damage, right? I mean, they're showing their respect to Jun.
Doesn't mean that Owner is going to pick away the Xin Zhao. That's my question. I'm still thinking that Shun has looked absolutely incredible on that champion so far this series. Something that is definitely worth a look in. And Owner has been prioritizing it a lot. There is the Jax ban. And I'm feeling it, Betty. I'm feeling like the Sejuani and carry champion could certainly be the angle here if they would like it.
Or what do they go for here? Because the obvious one is the TF, but Zeus and T1 have struggled with this.
If
the
I'm
Cassante
T1,
is another.
I would take the Sejuani away, I think.
I think Sej is definitely a good option. Or
I mean, he had a great game on it. It looks like they're thinking about Viego plus Cassante again, you know? I mean, he did just have a great game on it. Why would you not continue to ride the high? But BLG, they just need a little bit more damage, I feel. They've got great utility.
Xin Cassante, Xin TF seem to be most likely here.
I love this in Zalok.
Camille is open though. That Camille is very scary. Do you really want to blind the TF here?
With the Jax ban especially.
I mean, I like Xin Nico as a combo. I feel like that the Nico provides the utility, which sets up nicely for the Xin in the early to mid-game bridge. Senna obviously provides you with great scaling. But how will BLG round out this draft? Will it be the Twisted Fate? Will it be maybe even the blind Camille?
They've been having a bit of a think about it here as finally going to say, give me the Twisted Fate. We'll see whether that is going to be his final decision here. Makes a lot of sense. He's looked brilliant on this champion, finding those angles to get those gold cards onto exactly the right target, but it's going to be the Camille, and it's going to be blind.
I like this way more. I really, really do. I think that blind Camille, when you ban away the Jax, I don't know if teams are confident enough to pick like things like the Fiora into it. I mean, Zeus, if anyone's going to do it, he's the type of guy, he's got a counter pick prepared, but he wants to play for the team. His Cassante has obviously been incredible this series, and it offers a little bit more frontline. But Bin is put in a position to carry. He's given agency, he has great backline access. And you look at the team fight potential of BLG. They are an incredible team fighting team, and they have all the tools to win these fights later into the game.
It was Bin in 2022 that smashed T1 down. It was Bin last year that dispatched of both Gen G and T1, and it's Bin now on a carry. Gotta say, I love the comp from T1. I think it makes a lot of sense. It's reminiscent of what we saw of BLG in the last game, except with the Talia, which has been such a big pick, but it does feel like it's relying on finding those mid-game advantages. If you go into the late game, even though in isolation it looks good, into Senna, into Ornn, into Camille, it's gonna be such a tough ask.
They do have a lot of single target lockdown. Ona had an incredible game on the Viego in game 4. But like you say, I think the BLG, they identified what they are good at, and that is team fighting 5v5, and this composition does it gorgeously. The setup, the coaching, fantastic. We saw Koma there. You could see the desperation in his eyes as he was giving T1 the final pep talk before we head to game 5. A chance for T1 to go into a rematch of the LCK final of spring this year, and in fact, the LCK final of what feels like every single final ever, or instead, it could be that Gen G are the LCK's last line of defense, and BLG heading towards what is rightfully the LPLs in the MSI trophy. It is only T1 from the LCK that's ever been able to take an MSI. If BLG wins here, they will not be able to defend that. It is only Gen G that will be able to. Let's have a look to see whether this team fighting composition is going to be able to get it done, or whether it's just going to be Bin winning in a side lane. This Camille is already so frightening.
A moment of silence from the arena as we jump into game 5.
Well, there's a hook, so we're going to break the silence just momentarily as Knight down to 300. Going to pop a potion, he's going to be all right.
I feel like Nautilus and hooking level 1 has become synonymous with this series. Vision going to be cleared out as T1 initiate the swap. Trying to deny farm away from Bin is to be expected, but BLG is here to match. They have all 5 members. Bin has been spotted.
Yeah, T1 spotting out the fact that the Camille is there towards that top side, meaning that he cannot go for that flank.
They remember down. So T1 needs to be careful here.
Yeah, there is a really nice hookshot over the wall from Bin as Gumyushi going to use that ghost, try and get some damage back. He has taken that lethal tempo as they're just walking around this brush, and the rest of BLG are able to get on over. Carrier going to get knocked up. That is a great searing charge here from On, but no one has any buttons. They're level 1.
But they're able to sniff out the swap, and they're going to deny it. Bin will lose one minion of XP, which means that Zeus will have the early push. I do feel like in this matchup, the Cassante often gets the early advantage anyway, based on a lot of the Camille Cassantes that we've seen so far at this tournament. So as BLG is able to match the top side, Hook connects once again.
Yeah, there's another one. Veil of Arrows comes down. Level 2 is going to be gained here by just Gumyushi. Carrier just a little bit too far away from those minions for now. Speaking of level 2, it's going to be there for Zeus. Finds himself a nice little pushback onto Bin. Doesn't want too much more than that.
Bin playing around the passive nicely. Uses the shield to mitigate some of the damage back from Zeus. But notice, pushing lanes across the board for T1. Ona kind of has his pick of the litter of where he wants to go on the map. And right now it looks like he's just going to prioritize clearing out his side of the jungle. Deep wards invested from T1 will spot out Jun. Actually, maybe they didn't quite spot him out there, so they don't have full information as to where he is right now. Question mark ping's just dropped onto the Raptors.
They do have an inkling. Now the ping on the red buff. So
nice little hook back.
Pretty confident. Crucially though, Owner also on his way towards the bot side of the map. Zeus is trying to get that wave in. The one big advantage that T1 have right now is that Zeus can trade way more aggressively because
that was really well played by Ben.
Does still have teleport. So trades like that, as long as you're trading health and you don't get punished by this Xin Zhao, could still end up being a positive thing for Zeus, because Ben at some point is going to have to find it back.
That's very true.
Well, speaking of backs, the bottom lane is going to go back home here. Gumayusi Carrier going to look for a little bit of a swap back towards the bottom side by the looks of things. Do have themselves a little bit of a lead as the dust is going to settle.
I mean,
I'm going to stick around, build some stuff.
I like that Ben is sticking around to try and push this wave in. I think he should anyway. Is he just last hitting? Because I think this is a bit of a mistake. They now see Zeus on the top side of the map. He should expect the swap to be happening. But the wave's being pushed towards Gumayusi. I feel like the problem with this now is he can just set up a freeze. He's going to be able to catch this wave, and if they then decide to swap back, Alkanon is going to lose a lot.
It's also really tough. Camille early just doesn't have wave clear. That's a reason why you always go for early Tiamat.
Oh dear, could be even worse than that as Carrier is rotating over. Ben, will he get hooked is the question, and there it is, pulled back. Going to take a lot of damage here as Gumayusi wanting to proc that, but the Ignite not going to be enough to kill him. Still going to have to get himself out of there. Doesn't die, it's important.
Still a big delay though. Ben is going to be met by Elk and still stuck there in that lane. The big thing here is that On still has teleport available, so BLG can swap him around the map.
That's true.
Relatively quickly.
Oh,
if that would have hit.
Very close. Yeah, but it is awkward for Ben right now because Zeus leveraging that TP advantage is able to go top, gets all that solo XP. Ben did what he could to stick around on the bot side of the map, but now there's this slow push mounting towards Gumayusi and Carrier. On needs to kind of make his way bot ASAP so they can get that wave in a better spot. The good news for On is he didn't lose too much because he also stayed top to soak up a lot of solo farm. It's just Ben that's kind of in an awkward position right now.
For T1, ever since 2022, they have made every single final of every tournament they have attended, LCK or international, with one exception, which was last year. And it was BLG that put them in that third place. The night in the streak, obviously the streak was a lot of second places, to the dismay of T1 fans. But it is still something that is important to note, that it was BLG last year who came into the tournament with, I think, very low expectations and ended up giving us that first all-LPL final last year in London.
And it was Ben that started it all in 2022 as well, as you illustrated earlier on. Certainly a lot of history, even though there haven't been that many best of series between these two teams. Feels like so many of them have been so incredibly meaningful. And as you go to different teams that these players have been on, there's even more. As Owner in that brush, everyone's sweeping everyone else to make sure that they know exactly what's going on, or at least a bit more about what's going on. Exactly is not really the right word, as they're all just red silhouettes.
Now you'll notice top lane, there is a full level difference between the top laners. Now I do expect Ben to be able to catch a wave. I guess knocked back a bit, but he's not going to be too upset about that. Bot lane is still relatively even in terms of XP. Gold not really that much different either. You can see overall T1 have a slight gold advantage due to how the early lane swap dynamics ended up playing out. Dragon is a consideration here for T1, but they've decided to go against it for now. I think Grubs could be an easy secure for Owner if he wants. He has the push in top, they're going to get a push in mid, but he's hovering around the bot side still, as his bot lane is playing off of a large wave right now.
Particularly with the Viego, Dragon takes go pretty quickly of a percentage health damage. We do see Guma and Carrier keeping On and Elk underneath, but still don't want to risk it. I think the threat of Knight on a roam maybe a little bit much. Bin is gonna prank me. Zeus not nearly as easily scared. And this is, in a game 5 in particular, I think you can sense for both teams the stress that they're under. Faker.
There's a Pop Blossom from Knight. He is going to be able to find Faker. Still, he's relatively healthy, but it's not quite going to be enough. There's a shove, and now he's caught under the turret. Faker with the outplay, and Shun will go down for first blood.
Faker holds the flash on Knight. Is Pop Blossom knowing that if he flashes, Knight can follow him, and instead he flicks Shun into the turret.
Beautiful play from Faker. It looked like first blood was secured for BLG, and just like that, T1 turned it around. Now the ult's in bot.
Here's the ram, there's the knock up. The double comes in on top of Carrier, but still, he gets to his turret. It's not quite, oh, never mind! He survives! Now Gumayusi with so many minions and the rest of BLG BLG here. He gets the snap. I'm not sure about that one, buddy. And BLG will even out the scoreline.
The 2v2 goes in the favor of BLG. They find the outplays. Kuma was so close to losing his life as well. But in the clutch in game 5, confidence remains strong for Elkanon.
Kuma with the ult, it's so heavy on the mana early on, so even though he hit it on top of Elk, can't actually proc the Blight stacks. And then Carrier, desperately trying to salvage the situation, goes in for the hook, and it ends up backfiring massively.
Let's have a look at this mid lane once again as Faker. We've seen this position so many times, and it's game 5 that he finds this angle with Ona.
The follow-up from Ona as well was just perfect. Shun knows it's not worth flashing. Where's he going to go? The follow-up was going to come through. We look back at bot lane as well. Nice trades overall from Elk. He gets hooked up. It looks dangerous, so he's forced to flash. Then on with nice damage, but he doesn't quite have enough to get the kill onto Carrier. Almost, but just short. On then runs out of vision. Guma's also tanking all the damage. We go back to live.
In the meantime, you've got Bin in a little bit of trouble here. Oh, well, Zay's in a bit of trouble here towards the top side of the map. Shun has to flash, but they'll take it as the rest of BLG will close in and try and grab some plates.
BLG with the 4-man play towards top. T1 gonna get the dragon, gonna get a decent amount of plates, but I think BLG is still gonna be happy with that one kill. I think going over to Elk there, able to pick that up.
Yeah, a whole bunch more plates going over to T1 so far. As you can see in the gold, they are ahead by about 800 as this wave is once again going to go to no one. Gumayushi just going to continue to throw these arrows into the turret. And like eventually it will go down, but it's really looking quite slow here with just a Vampiric Scepter worth of damage. And there is the Drake being picked up by T1.
Yeah, I mean, they just come back out onto the map. There's nothing really for them to go back to base 4, so just keep farming as much as you can. I did think Bin would commit the TP, but he actually wants to go back to top lane, so
there is
now the TP will come out from On to get this last wave. But ultimately, I think that was still favorable for T1 overall. It was a nice dive, I think, crucially to... We saw the deficit really starting to mount. There's still a 20 CS lead. As Faker going to take a bit of damage, or a lot of damage, I think is a better word. But they tried to get this kill onto Zeus to put Bin back in a better position in this matchup. But ultimately, he still holds the lead. Obviously, there's a wave for Bin to catch. And the bot lane just gained a huge advantage off of that play as well. So I think T1 aren't too upset about how things played out.
Big thing there is that Zeus had his teleport available, so yes, he ends up dying, but it is a heavy investment. 4 people towards the top side, and then they just TPs to catch the wave as Guma now on his way. This is spotted by BLG. They do know this is going on. Night TP available, but T1, they can also just play for plates, trying to get Guma even more further ahead.
Yeah, 4 versus 1 here for Bin, though. Hextech Ultimatum just barely not off cooldown. Still sticking around here as the minion wave is going to once again conga line in, but there is no cannon. And T1 not going to push it too far with the arrival of the rest of BLG, and On here towards the bottom side, getting some plates of his own.
It is just Ornn though, so outside of Demolish, On gonna try his best. We'll be able to soak
turret with his little mallet.
I love this skin.
It is the best.
But the mallet is good for building, but in this case, not for tearing down, unfortunately for On.
T1 playing the map very well in this early game. The aggression I like from BLG, but in terms of the overall map state, T1 is favored. Now Faker has made his way top. Can they catch Bin out?
And now going to look for a little bit of a push. Let's see whether Shun overextends. As Chains of Corruption are going to connect. There is the Seismic Shove as well. He has the ulti, but is it going to be enough to keep him alive as the Dawning Shadow tries? But it does not work. There's the ultimatum as Knight will find 3 with the Pop Blossom. And there has Bin getting a kill as well. And now the flash out. Carrier answers back. Bin still alive in this one, but it's T1 that win the fight in the end.
But they win the fight, but in the bot side, Zeus is just pushing unbothered in his lane, having a great time, getting even further ahead.
T1 is very quickly taking control of this game. The Grubs have also respawned. Ona, having only just come back out onto the map, can't really do much about it. On tries to look for something, has of course the spellbook, gonna pop that ghost as Faker just knocks him away. We look back at the play in top. Shun is hesitant. You can see that he's cautious. The ultimate mitigates a lot of the damage, but Ona and Guma still in range, mean that they get the kill before Elk can throw the ultimate out. Ona then tries to get the damage out on the bin. A nice ulti from Knight. Unfortunately for him, commits himself to the play, and BLG don't have anything left. Meaning that T1 walk away with 2 kills.
And the depth charge, fantastic. It meant that Bin couldn't follow there as the Ram is coming down once again. Ona, by his lonesome, he's going to have to flash dash, get himself out of there, and he is going to be able to do so. Big investment to keep him alive, and now some grubs will be the prize here for BLG. Not able to deny the 4th, though.
Ooh.
Okay, Guma was the one spotted here as Knight, shape splitter, of course, is going to deny the surprise from T1.
And this game is interesting in that T1, I think, also needs to find his leads at the TP.
That's a big teleport, is now Carrier moving towards it, trying to keep Gumayushi alive. Great hook shot, though, and this Varus is not long for the world. Bin is going to execute it.
A good TP from Bin as BLG continue their map proactivity. They know that Guma has no summoners. He's overextended in a lane, and a nice flank ward allows BLG to now move into the enemy jungle. Elk and Shun teaming up once more to steal away some jungle camps and set up those souls for the center.
For BLG, Bin going to be a win condition, particularly once that second item is hit. T1 still sitting on a gold lead right now. It's mainly going to come down to can they keep stacking these early objectives. Got a whole lot of plates. Rift Herald would be big, but BLG are first to the objective.
Herald down to about 3,000 here. T1 wanting to fight for it. Ona in the back of the pit. That's a big teleport and a big hook as well. Seismic shove to pull him back. Bin knocked up as well. But now Shun getting into that backline. The Dawning Shadow to keep them alive. And now Bin looks for that backline. Faker got it executed even after the flash. And BLG, they found their team by 3 kills. And they give up on the Herald. He'll have to wait until they finish with T1.
The first major fight of the game goes the way of BLG. Zeus is interrupted. Faker is shut down. And BLG, while they might not have the gold lead just yet, will secure the Heralds.
Bin on this Camille comes up absolutely huge. Once again, blinds it. In game 5, TP coming through.
Oh dear,
This
is a bit of a sacrifice here, as you can see. On makes his way over. That is the turret being taken down. Carrier is actually here to try and keep his top laner alive. Blast Cone is going to try and get him out of here. Searing Charge not going to catch up, and there is no one here to back him up. So Zeus just going to get out.
Drake is really big for T1, though. That Herald was such a big victory for BLG. It's the team fighting power, and you see what happens when you deny the resets to the Viego.
We look back at the fight. And the TP comes in. This would have been massive. Big numbers advantage in favor of T1, but because of that interruption, Shun finds access onto the backline. The center ultimate proving valuable. And then Bin with the flank. A nice flash commit, shuts down Faker, and he converts it into a double as well, working with his jungler as Knight and Elk find Gumayushi on the bot side. Still no summoners. A massive team fight win. Cassante did get a kill onto On, but in the overall game state, BLG walk away the victors.
Not going to be able to challenge for this dragon, and of course, in a game 5, it is Infernal Soul. Both of these teams very happy to be able to pick that one up, and it does mean that we're going to get some pretty spicy fights as these dragons start coming in. And Cinders, man. Cinders make the game so much more fun.
Bin, the player that has found ways to make plays regardless of the state of the game, is now a 4-0-1 Camille. They put that trust in him. It was the choice between the Twisted Fate or the Camille, and he said, just give me Camille. I can do so much more in these fights. And you already saw in the previous fight what he is capable of. I think it, like, debate around best top laner in the world. Like, I know Keen is a strong candidate, but Bin is really trying to throw his name into the ring. Of course, it's already in there, but what a monster series from him.
Even in the Gen G series, I think many people looked at Bin like, Bin, you did well. Stand proud, you are not the problem.
And I'm getting flashbacks, man. I remember when he killed 5 people in a row on Fiora. And Camille is a champion that can also take over a game.
All these fights, these mid-game fights, they're so pivotal. T1 want to try and get this Viego further ahead. Want to try and play around these one-item spikes.
Well, now you've got a back coming on through here as BLG will wait, but they still do have the end. Bin finds the Hextech ultimatum. The train is going to be there as well. And now T1, they want to find something back, but of course the Bellows Breath is going to deny the CC, and Zeus, he's going to get pop blossomed, and he is going to survive for a long time, but not long enough. Elk going to lock will lose no one in take 2.
In this game number 5, T1 found the early blows, but through that team fighting, BLG now in the lead.
The only good news is it's hard for BLG to convert this into any objective. Elk and Knight did lose their flash in the exchange. They won't have it for the ensuing Dragon fight, but Faker committing his TP means that's not going to be available. That ward spots out Viego backing. Bin and Shun diving together. The ultimate timing is perfect. And with Senna's ulti there to support him, Bin finds another kill.
On the flip side, Zeus caught amongst many a member. Don't even know if Knight really needed a hard commit, but they wanted to ensure that Zeus went down, that the Faker TP would not go, and turn the situation around for T1. And it is currently sitting for the first time. Bin now, which I can't believe it's the first time, but he's actually sitting at a gold lead now.
Yeah, and he's 5-0-2.
Yeah, is only going to get bigger and bigger, and T1, they're going to need to find
look
some
at it,
insane
72
team
stacks
fighting.
as well on Elk, 19 minutes into the game. Pretty solid pace. BLG are very quickly taking control of this game.
And I feel like you can feel exactly what BLG were discussing between games 4 and 5, and that was, don't let this Viego get resets. It feels like as soon as Bin is in range in any way of Owner, he is beelining straight for him to take him off the map. And my God, it has been working so incredibly well so far in this game.
I mean, also, obviously the game's not over yet, but T1 saying, we'll leave you Talia up. Take it, go ahead. And they conceded it. They trusted in Knight's Nico. Elk gonna take that one away.
Yep, the charge now denied. Shelly is still gonna move towards that turret.
Dragon in a minute's time.
Yeah. A-Rev coming on through the Baron now on the map here.
But look at Bin sitting top lane. Has TP available. More than comfortable to be sitting in a side lane. BLG grouping as 4, playing the 4-1, use their control in mid to move into the jungle. We've talked about this so many times this series. BLG will tell you which part of the map belongs to them, and if you dare enter it, you will pay the consequences.
And even though T1 obviously can get a Hail Mary fight later into the game, into Camille, into Ornn, into Senna, that is going to feel like the kind of Hail Mary that you don't want to rely on. This next Drake fight, I think, is absolutely essential. The problem is it's only sole points, so if you overcommit, BLG can just run towards that Baron. T1, of all teams, should know, and if they don't win this soul fight, if they lose control of this game, you gotta imagine it's gonna be BLG going up against Genji again in that grand finals tomorrow.
Just feels like mounting dread for T1 as the champions on the side of BLG just, they're like a fine wine. They just get better and better as the game goes on. Gumushi has found some phenomenal angles on this on-hit Varus, but he's going to have to be one heck of a hero against all of this CC that BLG have picked for themselves. Drake has spawned. Let's see whether it is something that T1 can find. They found miracles before, but this one's so hard.
The bot wave needs to be caught. T1 have numbers advantage on the mid wave. Knight going to catch that one out. Guma a little hesitant to step up. Now, Bin should be able to secure the bot tower. Zeus is going to go and answer, but it's BLG with full control over the river. Do T1 just concede this? Perhaps wait a little longer before fighting. Ulti.
Yeah, carrier. Dodging a lot of abilities as Shun is going to get flicked back, but nothing of note really going. Oh, that hook barely missing onto Knight there. Does get him to the side. T1 with an avenue, but not a minion wave. As far as mid-wave control is concerned, Gumushi going to stick around, try and lock that one down. There's the flash hook to come out from Carrier, but immediately they are going to disengage. It's going to get them out of there.
It was a clone.
He was baited or blocked. I didn't quite get to see it fast enough, but that's a crucial summoner spell down for Carrier. T1, they recognize that they need to find that angle, but it has not been found. BLG will not give it to them.
BLG's playing it slow. Right, BLG, if at any point they want to start a fight, they have the ways on sitting on his ultimate double smite available now as well. And I think T1, rightly so, go, guys, they're not going to give us the fight that we're looking for. And BLG going to deny such a big possibility, possible out for T1. Get themselves the first Infernal Drake.
And start their stacking as well.
If
a little bit more damage now, but man, after you stack 4 of those, you're going to be feeling pretty good.
if you're a T1 fan, I would definitely be nervous right now. This Camille is terrifying. And it's not just any Camille, it is being operated by none other than Bin.
And it must be so hard as T1 as well, because they've been at the mercy of this player so many times. Bin is just someone that has plagued Zeus. He managed to get past it last year, but that was Worlds. This is MSI. This is LPL territory that T1 trying to get into. You can see gold advantage, not massive. We're checking out the gold difference over time, powered by AWS, but not telling us that much. Hex Flash being charged here as Carrier not going to find the hook. And now Knight throws the street splitter through. That's a decent Q3 from Zeus. Nothing to follow up though.
The siege continues onto this mid tower. BLG have a lot of zoning tools. If they want to just commit the Ornn ultimate,
Look at the side wave that Bin is pushing.
They can just leave Bin to just do work. He is more than happy to keep pushing, and then what happens is when Zeus comes across, you can then bring Bin over, then have On through the ulti out, and then use your numbers to secure. Maybe you even get a TP out from Zeus, which you can then use later as an advantage. It's BLG that have options right now.
Rageblade now completed for Gumayusi as Zeus. If he walks up, he is probably dead because Knight and Bin are in the area. They know that they're not mid lane though, so I think he should play defensively, and he is going to walk his way back. T1 now here for the defense, trying not to give up any more ground, but it just feels like more of the jungle belongs to BLG. More and more over time, T1 are bleeding money and gold around the map.
For BLG, you're also perfectly happy just sitting here, getting levels on Ornn, even though he's sharing XP. Elk can just keep farming up souls. Bin about to hit level 16, only one level away. For T1, look at the item spikes. This is 2 items. This might be as strong as they feel like they're gonna get, but what are you gonna do? Try and engage on? Clearly, he doesn't care.
No, he just breathes fire, and that makes him not mind about people trying to move him around. When I say it like that, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but there is a reset coming on through as Steric's now done.
Okay. Well, Carrot just flash?
Hex Flash.
Ah. Flashed earlier. Yep. To clone, remember?
That was a minion, and Carrier now going to get on. It's a double knockup though on the backline. Carrier will survive for now. As Shun making his way in, not going to be able to get there in time to get a follow-up on the engage. That's Ornn down, but depth charge was traded.
That's 3 ultis down for T1.
Yeah.
Faker, Guma, and Carrier all invested. As Carrier was in a dangerous spot.
Oh, there's a Pop Blossom as well. They're all on top of Owner, and he will be taken down. The all-out going to come on through here as Knight goes golden, but I have a feeling he is going to go down. Zeus going to get that kill. It's Jungler for mid laner. Keeping Owner alive has been so important here for T1. Feels just like an even trade.
A clutch play from Zeus keeps the numbers even. They don't have a minion wave to siege, and they don't want to gamble the Baron. Ultimately, an inconsequential fight, but we look at the aftermath. Flash used for Knight in exchange for 3 flashes and a ghost on the side of T1.
And BLG, again, as long as they don't lose an objective, as long as they don't give up soul point, they're going to be sitting pretty. T1 have had some great team fights, and they're going to need to find one here.
Yeah, Carrier in trouble. The Blight Stack's doing a lot of work here on to On as he gets himself out of there. Just going to go for a reset now, and man, BLG are they're like a brick wall in this game.
I'm glad they're playing on because they really feel like a freight train.
Yeah.
Knight flashes over the wall, gets the summoners out from Guma. Unfortunately for Owner, there's no way for him to escape, and a nice play from Zeus to at least make it an even trade. But it's the cost of all those summoners that BLG will look to try and take advantage of with the dragon spawning in 30 seconds.
For Knight, though, that was not a fully finished Zonya's Guma.
Yeah, there's another on-horn, and he is just going to get knocked up and put down. Knight is going to Pop Blossom him. That's going to be that outer turret that's been so frustrating. And BLG will break down part of the wall of T1 here and look to push further.
Taking inspiration from what T1 did in the previous game, BLG take out Gumayusi. And now Zeus on the flank, but I don't think he can do anything. The minion wave is thinned. BLG have their eyes on the dragon.
Health bars are a little bit low. T1, we'll see if they want to try and either maybe flip for that Nash. BLG, that Dragon is going to be taken for sure. Second Infernal Drake. And I think a Hail Mary is in order here. But without Guma, your damage to this objective is so negligible. Faker went for a very defensive build with a Banshee second. And BLG up 2.5k. 2 Infernal Drakes now, and BLG, they're not falling for the trap, it looks like, unless...
All right, they did manage to at least scry it, but now T1, they may have found their opportunity to engage onto a Xin Zhao, though. He's just going to flash himself away. And even though they face check, they get nothing.
I mean, I guess a flash is something, but T1 have to try as they feel the game slipping out of their hands.
Engages onto Xin Zhao. I feel like it's just somehow Shun manages to mind control everyone, puts himself in positions where he's the juiciest target, and he's just never able to be killed.
There's
Apart
just
from a couple of times, I guess, this game.
There are not a lot of good targets, because both On and Shun are so hard to lock down.
Right.
Bin is self-explanatory, Camille notoriously slippery, Knight has his clone, so really that leaves Elk, and if Elk is in a position where he gets engaged on, then...
And he's probably not here.
I think that's on him. And Edge of Night makes even that harder. T1, we've seen them have some incredible team fights, but if they want to face Gen G, again, I've lost track how many times we in particular have seen that matchup.
Or something?
Atlas, they gotta find an absolutely mind-boggling team fight. It's just hard to see with how controlled BLG is playing.
T1 are the miracle comeback team.
True.
I mean, if you can describe what we've seen from them so much this year, their ability to find ways back into games has been incredible. The problem is they're going against a team that tends to chokehold you once they have a lead. And so we're going to need to see some impressive moves as Faker.
Yeah, there's the Weaver's Wall. They look for that opportunity. Elk in an awkward position, but the Ram is going to be there to just drive on through. T1 couldn't find that engage angle, so now Faker's Wall is on cooldown. It's a decent flick onto Shun, but he's able to walk it off. It is just fine.
On stands his ground. The conductor is leading this train for BLG. They are not flipping anything, not taking any chances.
Look at the wards.
Bin is continuing to farm in a side lane.
The vision.
They're pinging bot lane. Literally, look, Bin is going back to base and he's gonna go catch bot. Knight is just, I mean, like, Knight's being starved to farm for the sole purpose of funneling resources into Bin. He's so close to GA. Once he gets it, how does T1 deal with this monstrosity in the top lane?
I have no idea. I feel like it's a bit of a head in the sand type idea here. It's like if we ignore the problem, maybe it'll go away, because he's just been slowly but surely getting more and more powerful in this game. I remember when Zeus had a gold advantage, had a CS advantage, that is evaporated as Hook is going to go wide here on just walking in front. Just being a bouncer and saying, T1, you're not allowed to come in.
Gumayushi would love to get another item. Has to be close, but T1 is spending so much time grouped up. Guma only level 13, and look at this, 18. There's the GA for Bin. He's so close to level 18 as well, 16 secured for Knight. T1 have not crossed this line in I don't know how long.
Haven't been able to get any sort of angle here. Only Faker with any sort of advantage as far as that lane is concerned versus Knight, but we know that Knight just needs to find the right Pop Blossom angle, and he will be so incredibly valuable in these fights. Seismic Shove not going to find the target there as BLG may just start off this Baron. They're clearing out vision now. Bin is going to back away from this minion wave. And can T1 ever threaten them? They move towards the purple worm. Won't know just yet. They haven't actually committed for it. BLG just getting their minion waves in order.
And BLG, understandably, the call here is, if we don't overextend the Baron, flip an objective, we are going to win the game. We have Elk currently sitting at, what is it, 134 souls.
That's a lot of souls.
On just dinked level 14 is going to start dealing out ornaments like it's nobody's business. And the objective is going to get started up here.
Carrier is the one that has to face check here. Does get snared, but manages to hook his way out, gets the buffer on that one, and now BLG just defending this Baron. It's going down so incredibly quickly. I don't think T1 has any chance of getting over. Owner tries to get himself towards the pit, but the train is going to run him over. He's not able to do it. Bin just has laser sights on this Viego, and now he's diving in to try and kill the rest of them. Might have been a little over-aggressive, but he's got a Guardian Angel. Carrier's flash does nothing. Bin comes back.
has secured. T1 demolished. BLG on track to return to the finals and knock T1 out of MSI.
As the cinders rain down, Jungle goes crazy. BLG with this Baron, they might look for the end.
Yeah, they're continuing to push forward. And for Knight, it might be that he's managed to take down the greatest of all time. As there goes Bin, he's going to make it about him. The X-Tech sweep is going to take down Gumayushi. And BLG, they did it once already this tournament. It took an extra game, another Pop Blossom. And Knight will put him in the ground. And now it's only Chovy that stands between him and being the next one to lift the MSI trophy.
The defending champion makes his way back to the MSI final. And for BLG, the rest of the roster, this is an opportunity to do what they couldn't do last year.
They put their faith in Bin and he delivered. His Camille was exceptional. And it was a hard-fought series. But as you hear from the roars of the crowd, the LPL will remain strong. And they will fight for the MSI title once more.
Zeus might be able to do it in summer, but spring is the time of Bin. And he looks absolutely fantastic. Some of the games, T1 were able to get over the top. And of course, a close, hard-fought series here for T1. A much better look than the last time these two teams met. And a well-deserved bow will be taken here from the reigning world champions. But they will not be MSI champions, and the only way the LCK will be able to do it again is with a different MSI champion. For the first time, it's not going to be T1, and Gen G has a shot, but my God, to get through BLG, they've done it once before, but it feels like they're just leveling up as this tournament goes, and it doesn't get harder than this as we reach the end.
It's gonna be an incredible finals. T1 pushed BLG to the absolute limit, and now it will have to be on BLG to show Gen G what they are truly capable of.
But now, we're heading over to the analyst desk. Stick around for the Verizon post-game interview with Knight in just a few minutes, though. That'll be fantastic. Take it away, Shops.
T1 cannot make it to the final to fight their brethren. Instead, it is BLG